Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better brace yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And what do I mean by that? I say that all the time. What I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, you guys, because I want to put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take all that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I probably fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. We got a great show today. I'm supposed to have a guest come on here. Some stuff's going on. I don't know if the link was just not working or not, but you know what? We're going to get it all figured out. But regardless, there's a lot to talk about no matter what out there. But you know, you guys, before I do any of that fun stuff and get into any of those current topics, I always got to give a shout out to my long-time friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers. We all enjoy making additional money. And that's what you get with VHub, you guys, because you can get on there and look at all of their current repositionings and long-term rentals and everything and get paid to move these trailers around, you guys. The repositionings, you get paid to move these. And that's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out, you guys. So they have a bunch out in San Diego, California, needing to go over to, excuse me, I am drawing a massive blank here. Here we go. In San Diego, California, going out to all over the U.S., and they go anywhere from $1,100 to $2,200 per trailer, you guys. They have some ones intra-Canada as well on there for some rentals. They have cross-border ones from Evansville, Wisconsin, going to Mississauga, Ontario. And then they have rentals in the U.S. as well, you guys, in Hutchins, Kansas, or Hutchins, Texas, excuse me, needing to go, and you can run those around out there, you guys, and they just got to be brought back into Hutchins, Texas there as well. So hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friends, Zach Lonergan, who's already in the audience, and Stacy Steen, they'll be out there, you guys. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Let me see here. We got Zach out there, and let me see. We got Tracy St. Clair. Good morning to you. Anthony Jimenez, good morning. Thanks for tuning in, my man. Sunny Sharma, good morning, Orange Shirt Gang. Corey, let's go. Good morning, all. Let me see here. Let me see here. All right. Well, it might just be Here we go. Here we go. The man, the myth, let's go, baby. Oh, man. I was literally almost about to say, your boy's going to be going solo here. But then I saw that beautiful smiling face pop up in the waiting room. Let's get it.
Dude, I don't know what's
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know computers at all. I just know, like, when I create an event, there's a link that comes with it, and I just copy and paste it. If it doesn't, I can't do anything with that.
I had the link, and I was like, why?
Are you hearing? What's that?
Are you hearing the feedback?
No, I got you. We're all good. There's a little bit of feedback there, man. But, you know, at the end of the day, we'll figure it out, man. I can hear you. I can lip read, right?
I hope so.
No, we're all good. John Radvansky, what is up? Watching over on YouTube. Bill McIntyre, top of the morning to you as well. Let's go. And, yeah, man. So, dude, is that a Finlock shirt?
Exactly.
Oh, we'll be all right. Wow. Oh, hold on. We'll get him back on here in a second, you guys. We're a scrappy startup. This is just what we do every single day, ladies and gentlemen. Danny Longoria, good morning to you. And here we go. He's got that. Now, let's try that.
Maybe.
Let's go.
Still an echo. We work with it.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Dude, is that a nice Finlock shirt? A nice little red Finlock shirt?
It is a Finlock shirt.
Dude, I like it. That's fresh, man. That's
good.
good.
What's going on today in the industry?
Oh, dude, a lot of stuff's going on in the industry. I saw like a bunch of articles that were breaking overnight and stuff about everything from, you know, small companies in the industry and, you know, our great friends over at the Teamsters sacrificing 20-some thousand of their own. Yeah, man, and hey, I don't know, but there is a guy with an orange shirt on who has a morning show that literally said that exact same phrase like a week and a half ago. But
we've been talking for a while.
Dude, it's wild out there in all that stuff, man. It really is. And, you know, again, at the end of the day, man, my heart bleeds for those individuals who are out of work now that were, quote unquote, promised that brotherhood of that. And now they're out of a job. So it's wild.
It is wild. I think it's something we have to look at the industry. It could be anyone.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. And especially with all of the stuff that's going on right now. Because, I mean, I had Kevin with Green Screens on yesterday, and we were talking about the stuff going on at Convoy and how, like, they're out there putting out for, you know, exploring the possibility of a sale. And, you know, we were also talking about how it's funny how everybody in the industry who's sitting on the sideline has a, you know, Monday morning quarterback opinion on what they would have done in that situation and everything else. And, you know, and it's like at the end of the day, man, why celebrate when other people are failing? And then especially, like, do you know how you look when, like, you're literally on the sidelines and you're talking all that beautiful language and colorful language and you literally don't even have skin in the game?
Well, that's the issue in our industry. We have a lot of folks who aren't operators, but in their head, they think you don't really know how to you don't know how to build a procedure. And so when you see fail, it's easy to critique until you have in that arena that they're fighting. You have no idea to sit in those seats and to lead a company.
Dude, and that's exactly it, man. It's like, you know, I saw that in, like, with everything going on with Surge, you know, happening, you know, and everybody out there calling out with that. And, you know, like I said on that, like Omar was always really cool with me, right? Like he was always really nice with me, gave me time and, you know, talked with me and everything when I was just young, strapping man in my bedroom with a broken laptop trying to figure all this out. And, you know, and that's the thing at the end of the day is it's like, you know, like I said yesterday too, man, with the guys over at Convoy and Dan Lewis and all that, like, dude, props. He built up something like you know, and that's another thing too, man, is you can't mistakenly raise hundreds of millions of dollars because you don't have a product that people see a lot of value in at that time. Whether the rollout and distribution of that product is a completely different scenario. You don't do that on accident, right? And again, it's like, for me, it's just back down to the fact that there's a lot of individuals who have a lot to say with little substance behind what they're actually doing.
Little substance, and then you have to remember the fluctuations we see in this industry in the past years. So usually risk mitigation, but no one could mitigate the pandemic. And when you're seeing Convoy maybe potentially selling right now, it could be that they just want to show people how great their operations are. Maybe they need to be a little more fine tuning. Maybe there needs to be a little leadership change here and there, but it could just be to let folks know internally we're okay, but entertaining additional monies right now. Why wouldn't you? If you can prove the value, if I can show you that my P&L, my revenue looks good, if I can show you my profit margins are slowly increasing, why not? You know, open the let some folks come in.
Dude, I completely agree. And I muted my mic, and for somehow that improved your audio. So yeah, we'll make it work. I got it. That's what we're going to do. So anytime I stop talking, I'm just going to mute myself because I think for some reason, and oh man, it's funny. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. It's all good. But yeah, dude, I think, like, you know, and that's another thing with if we're going about, talking about progress and moving things forward and seeing how the industry is evolving and, and it's like, I've been interviewing a lot of people recently and it's about like, hey, you know what? You don't need the financial backing of hundreds of millions of dollars in capital and everything else to bring a product to the market that levels the playing field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I love seeing the most is it's like there's a lot of good companies out there who are like, hey, we recognize that 97% of this industry is small business, that is a lot of bootstrap founders who are just trying to carve out their piece of the pie. So why don't we bring a product out there that everybody can use?
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's the thing too, man, is it's just like, we've been partnered up for a long time now with VHub. And, you and I mean, like I've said, like the last time you were on here, JD is like that logo that you guys see in all my promo videos of that, my face with the orange, but JD made that for me. He was like legitimately fan number one of like, I don't know where this is going, but I like what you're doing. And I want to be a part of helping you out with that. So it's like, but that's the thing is it's like now with what you guys have out there. And I talk about this every day when we're talking about trailer pools as a broker. And that's the biggest hurdle that all of us as brokers get when you're cold calling. I cold call and cold email literally every single day. And for me, it's one of those situations where it's like, that's the biggest feedback that we get is, hey, you don't have any assets. And especially if you want to get into the larger enterprise shippers that are out there that everybody wants to be a part of is, hey, we need these. And now you have that capability to go out there and to do those repositionings.
Yeah. No, I think what we're starting to see in the market, we fluctuate with the spot. So we are a direct correlation with how things are moving. OTR, I think we're starting to see some tender rejections utilizing sonar with freight waves. And we're also starting to see that lull right now. And this lull, if you're new to the industry, it happens everywhere, pre-staging for the holiday season. But this lull is a little quieter this year than it's typically been in any other year. And it's because warehouses right now still haven't gone through that full cycle to kind of get rid of all of the merchandise from the pandemic, over ordering, over purchasing. We're talking about manufacturers now. We're talking about small businesses who over purchase, a toy that was selling great during the pandemic. The moment the pandemic went on, its toy stopped selling. So now it's sitting in a warehouse, collecting dust, holding space. And right now, folks are trying to say, what is the cheapest way for me to clear up the warehouse space that I have on lease? 1, 2, how do I get rid of that without utilizing a dedicated driver? And then 3, am I looking at needing storage trailers, or do I actually need some just old 08s, 2010s to just move some goods from here to there? Do I use my overflow lot to be my staging area? Do I pay for parking with FinPark and have my storage over with them? There are a lot of decisions being made currently this entire month of August that are all directly correlated with the November Thanksgiving push as well as the Christmas push. So we're seeing that. We're seeing kind of a quiet hum. But on the back end, we're getting phone calls saying, JD, I need to reposition 100 trailers from Lansing, Michigan to Laredo. I need to move 200 trailers from Toledo, Ohio to Toronto. I need 400 trailers moved from Tacoma down to Florida. Folks are staging still, Chris. This is still the staging time. Brokers are starting to see freight kind of pick up a little bit, but they also seeing capacity constraints a little bit because folks have a lot of disjointed trailers. You're going to have to shut me up on this one because we've been studying this for a while now to understand why is there such a disjointment? Why are we going through such a lull? How are we better preparing for the holiday season? And what does Q1 look like after the holiday season? So it's the asset is still king. Folks still have them. But currently, it is just quiet, man. It's real quiet.
I have a lot to say with that because here's what I'm seeing. Because again, you guys, the benefit of tuning into this show, whether we have audio problems or not, is irrelevant. Because you know what, I'm just here to bring in some value to some individuals because I'm actually in the role every single day that I talk about. And what JD is describing there is the exact sentiment that I am seeing out there, because I am actually doing the work. Unlike other people who talk about this industry, I'm building real shit. I'm nowhere trying to make myself sound like this fucking entrepreneurial guru. I'm just trying to figure it out every single day, like every single one of you. But I am seeing tender rejections rise with some of the large enterprise shippers that I'm set up with. I am seeing opportunities start to show up that historically have not been there. We are fortunately in the process of onboarding multiple shippers in the last 30 days. Now, that does not equate to instant success inside of that book of business. And that is a major disconnect out there that I see, as it's like, oh, we're adding all these customers. I'm adding customers too. But that does not mean that we are moving a shitload of volume with them, because those opportunities that, like you were describing there, JD, are few and far between. But when you get that first opportunity, that's when you start to build it. And then furthermore, you are not entitled to those opportunities because you offer that service. You have to earn that freight day in and day out. And what I am personally seeing out there is they're more open to the providers of when you're reaching out to them. A lot of it is a lot of the objections that I'm getting right now aren't we're asset only. It's, hey man, we're just not busy right now. We can't keep our current network busy, but please stay in touch. We can talk further down the road. And that's where I see a lot of people who are, and again, like I forget what report I read the other day, or maybe it was the other week. I don't know. I can't remember what day of the week it is most times, but it was talking about that inventory burn that you're talking about, and that a lot of suppliers, a lot of retail stores are about at that point where they've burnt through excess inventory, and they are going to start replenishing that. And then here's what happens. Again, when we're talking about creating a drop trailer pool here, you guys, I've done this before. There are a ton of warehouses that need to liquidate that product. Think seasonal freight, you guys. Think of all the summer shit that was out there that's not going to be sold after this weekend, which is Labor Day. Little caveat, you guys, it is a holiday weekend coming up. Speak with your shippers and receivers about their hours of operation to be better prepared for that. But what do they do with that? They need to liquidate that stuff. They need that out of their warehouse because they need to bring in Halloween, Thanksgiving, all of that other stuff. What do they do with that? They need to get that out quick. So what can you do? You can drop trailers out there. You can store it for them. You can bring it to their other warehouses or their liquidator, because that's eventually where that stuff is going to end up. JD, now go, and I'm going to mute.
No, I think it's right, because I'm looking at right now, we see a lot of ports that were never busy. I won't say never busy, but we're starting to see ports have an increase in utilization of their capacity. Savannah, Jacksonville, Charleston, seeing some increases there. But what Chris is talking about with these reports are these warehouses are going inland, and they went inland a lot during the pandemic. So if you're looking at the Savannah portion of it, they went in, and maybe instead of just focusing on Savannah, a warehouse has said, hey, I'm going to put one in Augusta, and I'm also going to put one in Macon, and then that'll get me down through, 16 and I-20, the beginning of it, to get you into Atlanta through 75. So you're looking at warehouses being strategically placed, and all of them are having to move these goods. Now, what ends up happening with the trailer repositions or rentals with the companies you're talking about with tender rejections, and they cannot seem to keep up, a lot of the folks have been disjointed within their network. So brokerages typically have a network capacity team, or a 3PL would as well. Network capacity team is out there trying to make sure that they keep their network of carriers as high utilization as possible through the lanes that they're running. Well, when pandemic happened, a lane where I may not have been typically busy, Atlanta to Athens, maybe the newest, hottest lane. So now I've built a great book of business there. But as it's cooling off, there's nothing really coming out of Athens going back to Atlanta, or Athens going to Augusta, or Athens going to Columbia up to the northeast, excuse me. So now you're sitting there and you're like, man, I got 20 trailers in Athens. How do I get those trailers back to me? And that's what a reposition is. That's what a loadout is. How do I get my asset back to me without having to have my dedicated driver be stuck going either deadhead, which is bobtail, to Athens? How do I use someone who's already there? And that's where your B-Hub comes in. And I say, hey, guys, I'm talking to some Athens fleets. I got some repositions. Let's match them with some freight. Let's get you out of Athens back towards Atlanta. When you deliver that load, make sure you drop that trailer off at Chris Jolly's Trucking that's in downtown Peachtree in Atlanta. And now you're getting paid for the trailer reposition as well as that load. That's what we're talking about here with the manufacturers, the shippers, and the warehouse. All right, Chris.
No, dude, I love it. And Andrew Teal brings it, he's watching over on YouTube, and he says trailer network is not the same as power and trailer networks get out of whack in the market. We're seeing chasing freight and doing favors leaves your trailer in a place you don't normally run. And that, and that's another thing too, man, is because I talk about, or I've been talking about this a lot because I had broke down, I think Warner CEO Derek Leathers, an article like a week ago, and he was talking about the resilience of the small carrier in this market and everything else. And, he was talking about a lot of what they're doing. And I always tell people, pay attention to what larger fleets are doing, because that, success leaves clues, for example. And say you're in a position right now where, man, your trailer that you bought a couple years ago and your payment's like $1,200 or $1,300 a month right now, and you can't afford that, and you're looking to stay on and run power only, or do some of these loadout repositions and stuff like that, because you want to keep your truck, you want to keep that power unit running right now. This is where that opportunity comes in. And then furthermore, talking about like the trailer leasing aspect or the long-term rentals and stuff like that, like, man, you can literally go on there and rent a dry van for $450 a month right now and stuff like that. But it's like, I think that's where some of those opportunities lie, though, because we were talking about the loadouts, we were talking about that reposition right there, is like, that's where the real money lies. And when you get paid to move the trailer on top of the customer freight that you haul, like because I had somebody comment a long time ago, they're like, how do I make money on that? I'm like, well, that's the thing is it's like, that's the loadout. If you have dedicated freight that's out there, that's going in those specific lanes or in that specific region, you might have freight out of Atlanta, Georgia, going to Philadelphia, and the trailer has to get over to Scranton, PA, for example, where it's like, man, you can load that out, bring it up to Philly, offload it, and then that additional money that you get paid to reposition that offsets that cost right there, right? And then you're still making money on top of that. But it's like, for me, man, this tool, this product isn't just for the driver, right? Like, the brokers can get on there as well, and they can, if they have customers who need that drop trailer capability that's out there. I mean, we talk about San Diego, California all the time, where it's like, man, there's enough money in some of those repositions that are on that, where you can bring it up to to LA, for example, drop it at one of those large food and beverage manufacturers that are out there, because there's hundreds, and then it lines up with the lanes that these are running. And then that's where, as a broker, you become actually asset light, and you're technically, you don't even own the asset, and you get to utilize that. And these are brand new trailers that we're talking about.
No, I think this idea is new. And although we've been in business for 3 years, it's still something that is taking a while for people to kind of get their heads wrapped around it. So we have large brokerages that you would consider the top 5 that we have had discussions with. And we're in the middle of what would it look like to play in the same sandbox. We're in the middle of, well, I like it, but let me figure this out. Because you got to remember something. When you don't have money in logistics, your assets are your collateral. So a lot of companies are sitting back, and even if I feel like I'm going broke, my network is disjointed, at least I have my assets. I know where they are. I know who's pulling them. So our biggest fight a lot of times, Chris, is ensuring the asset owner that we have integrity on our platform. We provide insurance. We do pre and post trips. And so when I say pre and post trips, that's pictures, that's letting you see what the damage or non-damage was prior, the post trip or when it's delivered. We're following up with our drivers and our repositions every 24 hours, or at least 24 hours. Sometimes it could be 48 if we start getting a little bit busy. But we're trying to make sure we're tracking and tracing that asset completely all the way through until it's dropped off where it needs to be for that asset owner. It's hard to give someone your asset, and say, take care of my baby. It would be difficult for someone watching right now to say, hey, JD, you're a great, talker. You're a great salesperson on LinkedIn. Here's my car. When you come to my hometown, have a good time. Not on Turo, just here's my keys. That's tough. That's a tough thing to do. Or, hey, JD, here's my house. Stay here for the weekend. That's tough to do. So you have to build that loyalty, like Chris said, every single day. You have to build that trust every day. Here's what VHub does. You have to say it over and over again. just like you do with a child that you're bringing up and you're trying to teach them English or a sport or that the oven isn't hot. I got to tell you every day sometimes until you get it. And that's what we do with VHub when we're selling to the large brokerages or carriers. Here's what we do. Here's how we protect your assets. Know your assets won't be stolen. Know your assets won't be missing. Know if there's damage, you won't, run away and we won't take care of it. We have full coverage insurance up to the value, full physical damage value of your asset, $1 million in liability. We have you covered. Here's your driver's license number of the driver. Here's what company they work for. We're working with Go Highway to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information on these carriers, valid DOTs, MC numbers that match, addresses that match, everything that empowers us to Go Highway. So this is something that will eventually just take bullish selling. You can't be cute when you're bringing a new product to the industry. You just got to keep knocking on the door until you knock the door down.
Yeah, man. And I'm looking at it like this too, because again, like I had this conversation with Zach. It was probably like a month ago. And, and again, everybody wants to think business is perfect and easy, but it's not. A lot of real shit happens. And I have one of our biggest shippers that we work with who came to us literally on a Monday and said, I got to be completely out of this warehouse by Friday. We were just informed by the person who we were renting it through. Not a favorable situation. Initially, they wanted to load out dry vans and then have them stored long-term. So Zach was working on that for me. And this is a very real thing. Like I've dealt with this numerous times in my career. Granted, not as much of a time crunch on it as there was. A couple of it was a couple of months where it was like, hey, drop the trailers here. We're going to fill them up with product. We'll bring them down to the other location. But this was a very time sensitive, had to get everything out of there. And Zach literally had all the dry vans we needed in like minutes. Like it was out there and it's like, hey, dude, we have these. We can get them up there. Let me know if you want. And again, there's a lot of chaos going on, but my customer eventually just was like, hey, we're just going to live load dry vans, bring it to our other facility 40 miles down the road. We'll deal with it later. We just don't want to. And we're like, hey, cool. But like, that's the reality of what is out there, you guys. Like these are very real scenarios. And again, if you're a trucking company and you don't have the assets to do it and you have a customer that needs something like that, you guys, like this is where the service separators lie in this industry, right? Especially as a broker that's out there. Not everything is one pick, one drop, 20,000 pounds, first come, first serve, 24/7 shipper receiver. Those are those opportunities that I'm describing. That's one of those. Do you want access to our freight? This is what we need you to do for us. And then that's where you show up in the moment and provide exceptional service. And then now my customer, again, it's that loyalty aspect of it where it's like, hey, Chris and his team came through with us in a very chaotic time, because as a business owner, I couldn't imagine if the person where I rent my office from came into me after the show and said, hey bro, you're out by tomorrow. I couldn't imagine that amount of stress. And it's just me, one person. Like, dude, that's like a whole operation we're talking about there.
And that's typically what you'll see. You're also seeing like Macy's and Abercrombie and Fitch, some of these large shippers, they're staging for their sales. They also have been having a higher volume of storage trailers lately at their lots because they're also sitting on inventory. So you go to Old Navy or any of these big shippers, they're 20% off, 30% off, buy one, get four free. They're trying to get all of this inventory out. They're trying to push it out, which frees up the storage trailers, which then that needs to be repositioned somewhere. And now they can focus purely on what's coming in off of the boat. So that's a every single day thing, Chris. But what I'm learning is that if you're not in that world of 50 mil or above brokerage, 50 mil or above shipper, you don't really touch operationally those type of workflows with the assets unless you are working at a certain level. The delineation when you get lower to that level is usually the disjointment up above causes the opportunity for the smaller fleets and the smaller brokerages to kind of tack on and grab a little piece of what they can get. So it's a cyclical cycle. It's something where we're still all intertwined with supply chain, but a lot of the conversation we have, you have to touch it from a shipper or a large broker perspective to truly understand the big notion. But that doesn't mean as a small carrier or a small brokerage, you still don't need storage trailers or you still won't need repositions or rentals. They're still out there. You still need the trailer. And I have a couple of brokerages who are smaller that are saying, JD, the cheapest route for us is to work with you. It isn't to go lease. It isn't to go rent from somewhere else. The cheapest route is to utilize these repositions to increase their rate per mile. And that's how we're helping them. So it's an interesting model, dude, but it's something we got to keep teaching the industry to help them learn how to increase their profits.
And that's the thing, you know, because again, it's me and my business partner and my brokerage, you guys. Like, you don't need, and again, like, because when you're faced with a lot of these situations, a lot of customers go to the larger providers is because of that experience. It has nothing to do with that they're better or anything like that. It's that experience. Fortunately, I have that experience, right? Like, when I got that phone call, I was able to walk my customer through, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring a couple flatbeds in. We're going to live load them. We're going to churn and burn, day rate them throughout the day and everything else. And then the drive-ins, this is what we're going to do. And again, like that's where your experience comes into play. And I know not everybody has that experience, but we talk about that stuff on this show all the time. So when that does come to your lap, you're going to be able to take that. You're going to know what to do and how to make it happen. And I know we're pretty much right up on time. JD, I know you're busy. I always appreciate you coming on the show, man. How does anybody reach out to you and be?
Just reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Everyone says they're going to, and then they don't. And then the ones that do, I reach back, and then they don't say anything back. So, like, you know, talk to me, man. I'm not too busy to talk to anyone. I'm always interested in knowing what you guys are doing with your trailers out there. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. I promise you I'll respond back within usually the same day if I can see it.
I love it, man. And hey, that's going to be it for today, you guys. And as always, if you got value in what you heard here, subscribe to the show. You guys put it out there, share it out there to your network, because that's how we grow, is because if you see value, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon. And now, God.